Welcome back to The Boys in Motion, the podcast where we train hard, recover harder, and somehow convince ourselves that downtime is a part of the grind. Today, we're talking about the off season. You know, it's a weird time of the year when all of the races are done, the weather gets a little bit shitty outside. I mean, daylight savings just hit and it's dark immediately after work. So, we're down in the dumps, but there's still a lot that we get to look forward to in the off season.
One, two, three, four.
Oh, exactly. We're going to break down how to take advantage of this off season, even if it's short, but for some of us, maybe it's long, like me. Stay fit without burning out and come into that next year firing on all cylinders.
So whether you're an endurance junkie who just hates race days or someone who's already knees deep in those winter snacks, you've hit the snack drawer and you've put on a couple pounds, this one's for you. We'll give you all the tips.
That's it. Now, I'd say, just kicking things off. We got Tyler drinking a Coke, so he's already on the sugar. He's
On the
already
off season, dude. Don't
relaxed
even
on
need
the
it.
off season. That's too nice. But really, the off season, we're talking northern hemisphere here. Of course, people around the equator might not have an off season like us, and the people down south, the Aussies, well, they have the opposite. But of course, the off season is a good time to sort of reflect, get a little bit of recovery, but I think also do a little bit of a sneaky winter build to keep that fitness going and keep yourself motivated into the next year.
Yeah, for sure. I know the kind of the need for recovery. Like I go after we've all done big races, big A races. You come into the winter and you're definitely kind of in need of that reset. You get to get some time back with those busy training schedules, getting a little bit of time back to prioritize some other things for that mental recharge, I know is something that's pretty important. And just a kind of a time to let your muscles relax, not feel like they're under attack every single day with the heavy training load threshold sessions. So I know that this time, even though a lot of people think that, I don't want to lose that fitness, I think it really does help you gear up for that next block.
Yeah, totally. I mean, the one thing that you talked about there was time. And looking back, I can't believe how many kilometers I was putting in, how many hours of training. And, training isn't just the 1 hour you run for, it's the 20 minutes before, the half hour after that all gets consumed by a big training block. And now that I'm in the off season, I just cannot believe I found the time to hit all those runs and do that. It's kind of wild.
Yeah, 100%. And I just find myself now just going full lazy bones mode. And I used to always have that stressor or that pressure. Hey, after work, it's a Monday after work, I'm going to do this. Oh, it's a Wednesday after work, I have a speed workout. I always had those typical days for typical things. And now just switching that mindset to going with the flow really and doing what my body feels like doing is kind of a little bit of that mindset switch. And sometimes you do need it, less stress on the body, less stress on the mind as well. And like you guys said, just prioritize more time doing other things, let's say, as well.
Yeah, I know for me, often after marathons, after my big A races, I'm itching to get back. And I always tell myself I want a solid 2 weeks, almost completely off, maybe a little cross training, and I've never done it because I'm always like, oh, legs feel good, let's get back to it. This time, with a calf injury where I don't want to yo-yo back, I've actually taken the full 2 weeks off running, which is pretty nice. Give my time to just focus on other things. And it's pretty nice. I don't know why I haven't done this sooner.
Funny thing is, I saw this weekend was I had that pressure of going out for a run actually on Sunday. I was like, you know what? I haven't ran in a bit, kind of dealing with a little bit of a hip injury myself. But you know what I did? I know Brian's a freak, but I went to Andrew's Strava profile and I said, okay, when is the last time Andrew ran? If he has a couple zeros on his graph, I'm good. I won't. That was literally my logic. I went on my Strava. I was like, oh, Andrew hasn't ran in 14 days. I haven't ran in 14 days. Shut the app off and went for a walk instead. It was really nice.
That is really good. It's a good thing you didn't go to either my Strava or Adam's Strava because
Exactly.
he's running more now than he was pre-marathon. So I
His
think that's
November will
good.
be higher mileage than me.
For sure, for sure. But I think all overall, like we've hit on a bunch, but it's really about that recharging period, right? Like the mind's exhausted, the body's exhausted, the schedule's exhausted. So this is just a nice period, especially immediately after that big race, to hit that reset and hit that pause button a little on training. If you don't and you just like continue to dive in, that's where you risk that overtraining. And I would say even more risky is that total burnout, right? Where you just go too hard for too long and then something happens cold turkey, you have to stop, whether it's injury due to overtraining or some other thing of just pure mental exhaustion. But I find like that's when people hit the wall and then don't return to training because they don't have that itch anymore because they had a negative experience as they came into that off season because it was due to, a limiting factor that wasn't themselves trying to take a step back, but it forced them to take a step away.
Yeah, and I think like as us, just hobby joggers, amateurs that enjoy doing it, the thing is that elite athletes do this as well, that they really do periodize this rest. For example, big marathoners, they'll do two main races, kind of max. You see Kipchoge did two this fall with his send-off in his big racing career at New York, but in general, it is just two races per year. And often, if they're kind of traveling for a race, going somewhere, they'll take a long period off. I know that Triathlon Life, Paula Finley, they often talk about how kind of they'll go and they'll kind of take a big off season where they're still keeping active, hiking, doing other kind of stuff, but they really remove kind of the very strict routines that they normally follow. And I think especially at that level, it really is that mental side, and you need some sanity back before you can get back to it.
Oh yeah, 100%. And I think the main thing, like you said there too, is touching on other activities. Like they were like, let's say elite athletes, right? Let's say the off season, winter, whatever, they'll ski or they'll go rock climbing in a gym, or they'll do more indoor specific strength exercises. I mean, like you said, just hits that less rigorous workout routine and also still keeps that fitness up, but changes your mind as well.
Yeah, and I always find like, yes, you might lose some of that fitness in the off season for the thing that you're totally dedicated to, but you come back with a hunger after the off season and you bounce back pretty quickly to that baseline you were at before. Yeah, you might need to kind of sharpen some of the edges that you developed in a training block, but overall, I think as long as you aren't a complete couch potato and just snacking on all the worst foods and developing really bad habits, as long as you're staying healthy in that off season, I think the effect is probably less consequential than most people think. Now, this isn't talking about like elite performances, but certainly for, like you said, Andrew, the hobby joggers like us who aren't getting paid to do this, I think, yeah, taking some of that time off is a good call. I know like myself right now, it's tough to take like dedicated time off and I'm feeling guilty because I'm not hitting the mileage in every week, but it was still really nice to take 2 weeks off post race pretty much entirely from running, just a few like easy runs, and now back at it a little bit, but it's not to the same intensity. So I'm still doing some base mileage, and there is some structure to that, but it's not kind of as intense as it was during my on season in those training blocks.
Oh yeah, 100%. And I mean, I find myself as well, like just trying to, like you were saying, trying not to fall off completely, trying not to fall completely off the train by still finding myself with different goals and like little weekly goals, or trying to stay checked on certain routines that I'm setting for myself, and even new habits that I'm trying to work through, and just seeing if any of those new habits or new routines can stick and stay throughout when you start training again and get back onto that, slow aerobic zone 2 work. Just complementing it with anything you can is just a bonus at that point.
I totally agree.
And you mentioned goals, and I think off season is also for people that are super, they need something to work towards. I think having like small off season goals, like Strava segments, some small FKTs, or like something smaller where it's not necessarily a all out effort or something that's going to be super straining, can be a very fun thing. Or just like fun little like kind of like streaks of, maybe you want to build that strength training muscle and you get that into your routine, kind of trying to streak on that or something like that. It's like a good time to kind of mix things up a little bit, try something new to kind of keep you motivated through that until you're back onto that normal structured block that we're all so used to. Because once you're on that block, I find it's a lot easier. It's those in-betweens where you're like, I look at my calendar and it's just blank squares with no specific workouts. I find that's when it becomes a little tough.
Yeah, I totally agree and understand that. Like that's where I am as well. Is like I know I need to put in a certain amount of like mileage on the bike and on the feet, but I don't know when or how I should be doing that because it's so unstructured that I end up actually kicking myself a little bit in the weekends where I'm pulling a Tyler and needing to do 135K long ride just to hit my mileage. So I think if you are the kind of person who has certain goals, even if it's like other activities that you want to do in the off season, but you're somebody who needs a little bit of structure, it's not the end of the world to make a loose structured training plan, but make sure that that is still giving you time to recover, potentially cross train, whatever tickles your fancy. Because for a lot of people, like if you don't have any structure at all, maybe you're doing too little. And there is potentially a thing that would be too little, but you also need to balance that and be smart to not do too much as well. So if you need structure, I encourage people to do that because that's what I'm lacking right now, and it would actually help me be a little bit more tactical and recover better in this off season. Just having some baby structure, we'll call it.
Yeah, that's a great point. And I actually found myself, because I'm so used to that structure on a week by week basis, X amount of weeks from this race and when my next race is coming up. I actually found myself last Friday make up just a plan on like just on a calendar, a raw calendar, just November and December. This is what I'm going to do November and December. No, like no real goals or anything, but just week by week, this is what I'm doing on Monday. This is what I'm doing Tuesdays. This is what I'm going to try to hit on Wednesdays. Just those little goals. But again, still trying to keep that routine and somewhat of a structure because, I'm feeling like I'm a lost puppy without this training plan.
This is totally true. And this is exactly the boat I'm in. So I've done the same thing and I've developed. This is supposed to be week 1 and I already failed today. I didn't go out for a run, felt a little guilty about that, but that's the off season. We're allowing ourselves that grace. But yes, I have the plan, the idea of a plan. I have concepts of a plan of the 2-month training block that I want to do this off season. And it may include a few like rock climbing events, like not like competitions, but just like going out to rock climb and that sort of thing. So flexible enough, but still getting those 200K in.
I'm going to have to show you my month after this. It's real nice and freaky.
As long as it's got those Tune-Up Tuesday rides on it.
Oh, does it ever? Yes, that's sir.
Good. That's good.
You might need to snap a picture so we can share it with the episode release so we can give people a sneak peek into what those flexible months look like.
Oh, we can do that. It's also color coded. Every type of activity has a color.
Very nice. Yeah, I guess Andrew's off season won't have as much swimming as we once thought, unfortunately.
Frig. Searching up pools near me. I wish those were the days.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that quickly got deleted from the search history. Don't you worry. When I zoom into Google Maps, it no longer shows me pools. I just removed that from all history.
Yeah, that's awesome. So the other thing I want to talk about here, when we have this little section that we're talking about, kind of active recovery, cross training. The other thing that is really, really nice is sort of doing those other kinds of that same event that you were training for. So like I was most recently doing training for the marathon. And now I've gone out for 2 trail runs in the last week. And I wouldn't have gone out for trail runs necessarily, dedicated trail runs during the block, just because potentially the injury that comes with like twisted ankles and that sort of thing. But I've enjoyed the last 2 runs so much. Went out twice in the last 4 days doing trail runs. And so it's that kind of nice thing that you can do. You can go out for more group workouts where you don't need to stick to dedicated zones, dedicated paces. So you can definitely have a little bit more fun, whether that is like diversity of the activities or being able to maybe work out with people who you weren't always able to work out with during your block.
Yeah, that is true. I mean, you said trail run, and I mean that's kind of spooky leading up to next year. A couple trail events that I definitely have already signed up for, and I'm trying to get the boys to jump on the wagon here. So that's good to hear. I mean,
Tyler, before, are you a little stressed that people aren't signing up for this? Like,
oh no,
are
we
you
already got a
stressed that
team.
Andy and I aren't? Okay.
Oh, we already got a team. We got a
Okay.
six already filled. I'm just trying to fill another team.
You have 6 signups?
Oh, do we ever? Yeah.
Okay.
McDuff and the gang. We have McDuff, Big Mig, and two of McDuff's friends, and then I
Okay.
think one more.
Okay.
So
Okay.
we're at 5 or 6 right now.
So
So
then
we have one team for
Okay,
sure.
that sounds good. Now that's really nice to know that we have like a significant mass where
Yes,
a second team could be created as well.
exactly. A second team would be really nice and
Wow.
get a little bit of that camaraderie slash competitiveness going off of those teams. I mean, I'm racing Friday and Sunday that weekend, just the sidebar, so that'll be start to get freaky for me, but I'm
Yeah,
real excited.
you're gonna be in the biggest pain cave. You might be in a more of a pain cave than an Ironman.
That's what I'm
In
looking for.
the second race that you're doing in the trails that weekend.
It's literally what I'm looking for.
You're crazy. You're crazy.
Now, you guys are talking races, but to be honest, I'm still a little bit in the post-race blues. That kind of period post the A block of, and I feel like this happens to me often, but I feel like especially this block because I didn't really truly get the A race that I was hoping for. But do you guys kind of experience that or kind of have been through that?
That's a great point. I was going to say I've probably been stuck in the worst, what is it, post race blues episode, probably of my amateur running career, I would say, because I usually have, that next big event, that next Ironman, that next marathon signed up for. And call me crazy, but that August Trail Ultra is just too far away and I guess not close enough of an or big enough of a next goal to be excited for. So I'm still waiting for that post race blues to end and have something to look forward to. But that's why I think these micro schedules and these routines that I'm trying to start up and little goals are trying to get me out of this fog.
I share that same kind of post race blues feeling. It's a little bit weird. I feel a little directionless, and I still have my like why for the year, like those two broader goals. But it's difficult to find the motivation to actually do that right now. So I've just got to kind of reconnect, reground myself to that goal, and it's the light at the end of the tunnel. I'm like over 80% of the way through this. So now comes the challenging part to actually close it out. So I think that's one piece of advice that I would give to people who are kind of feeling the same way of like, where do I go from here? Is reconnect with that why, and then based on that why, maybe set yourself an intermediary goal that you can start to build towards. Even if it's not a big significant build, it can be something totally out of the ordinary as well.
And I mean, you never know what could happen the last week of the year. I'm excited to see what any of your guys' mileage land on and which number we're going to round up to, let's just say.
I might be doing a 500k bike ride. Who knows?
Let's hope for no snow then if you wanted to do a bike ride, because that might be tough in December based on the snow we dealt with last year for our fun cap off 2024 event.
I mean, just get the big tires on the Diamondback, baby. Get the Gorilla out there and trek through the snow.
Oh yeah, or who knows? I mean, the other nice thing about the off season is, well, it's cold here, you can go traveling, and that could be a mini break in itself. Or you could always bring the bike, lace up down south, and go for some nice heat training runs in the middle of the cold winter. Which is the other thing is like when you're traveling in the off season, it's even more guilt free, right? I think in the middle of a block, yes, you're going to travel most of the time before you start that block, so you kind of work it into the schedule. But in the off season, those unstructured weeks of traveling are just total bliss because you don't feel like you're losing fitness or losing time on the feet. So I think those are like all very good points for mindset. Yeah, do you have anything that you would recommend, Andrew, in terms of like finding that next thing to motivate you?
I mean, mine is always getting that next race on the calendar. That is the big thing for me, is I'm doing my research and I'm figuring out what I want to do. But I guess I am very cyclical with my racing and my goals, and I have a pretty, one trick goal, so it makes it a little easier. But kind of, yeah, finding that next race and kind of committing to it, the telling people, financially committing to it by signing up and not just saying, oh yeah, I'm doing it, but not actually pulling the trigger. I think that's big. And I would love to hear like people from the community. I've heard some buzz from some people of like early 2026 races, but I'd love to hear what people are thinking of, what kind of like our BIM members are doing, because I'm definitely trying to think of like some peak race is one thing, but kind of some smaller, shorter distance races to be doing in that kind of winter, spring run up for that marathon.
Well, one for everybody will be that BIM 5K. I think we're planning on doing that again. We haven't yet settled on a weekend or a comms plan or anything like that, but everybody keep your eyes, ears, and social feeds refreshed so that when we do drop that, you're ready to sign up. Tyler, what about you?
Oh, first of all, I'm excited for that. I'm excited to plan and get fired up for that weekend and getting ready to go for another nice 5K event. But I mean, I'm looking right now next in my eyesight or my crosshairs, as some may say, May, couple big races looking at in May. Want to get speedy. I know the boys have been chirping me for quite a while now, as I am the slowpoke, but I'm trying to get that fast 5K, a fast half marathon as well. It's kind of funny, trying to dabble with the speed and the shorter races and then mix in kind of on the back end of the summer, back on the ultra game. So I think really that's my plan, and sprinkle a little bit of triathlon in there, because I don't think that bug will ever leave me. So I'm very excited.
So I don't want to out him just yet, because I think I'll say it's a he. He should stay, incognito for a little longer. But there has been another challenger that has added himself to the line of people that is going to beat you to a sub 25K. So you should watch out for that in the 2026 season, because people are gunning for that sub 20. That's all I will say.
Is this who I think it is?
Oh, I think you know who it is.
Okay.
Greg, I don't really know. I don't really know who you're talking about. But
I had a good conversation with him on the phone last night, and he's gunning for you.
Yeah.
Greg, I want to know who this is. And
you might have races in the crosshairs, but he has you in his crosshairs.
Well, I don't know if we're talking about the same person, but guess who friggin' texted me as I was walking up here? Friggin' Vark. He texts me, just goes, "What race are you doing in May?" Literally, that's all he texts me. I'm like, oh, frig, would you want to know? Wouldn't you? I should say just tune into the pod.
Good. Yeah, exactly. So I think the whole so these are the things that can motivate. I think we're talking about them right now, is what's going on in the
100%.
community. Do you have people that you can compete against or go compete together at something? And then I think the last thing is like your own personal benchmarks. Like you hear the memes in the community of like the 300 watt FTP, the sub 12 Ironman, the whatever it might be, even if it's a gym PR, benching 225.
That's easy.
Right? Benching 225 is easy?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah? I certainly can't do that anymore with my T-Rex arms.
Oh, frick. No chance.
And yeah, like the sub 25K is like a perfect example. So one recommendation I would give people is like, if you don't know where you are, that same calculator that we were talking about for paces is a great place to go. If you ran, let's say, a 3:30 marathon and you plug that into the VDOT calculator and you see, oh, it's the equivalent of, I don't know, like a 24-minute 5K. Well, maybe a great goal is to try to drop that 24-minute expected 5K to a 22 and a half or whatever might be realistic and train towards that. So just find another distance, that's exciting to you, and and then get competitive with it and bring some friends along, and with that, I think that's the trifecta of motivating yourself in the off season.
Yeah, 100%. I echo that. And I mean, you got that now in my head. 225 bench would feel real nice by the end of the winter. So that might be another goal on the checklist. We'll do a bench off.
That's it.
That'll definitely help with a sub 25K too.
Oh, exactly.
I hear those go hand in hand.
Big chest means big PRs on the run course.
Beautiful, beautiful. Okay, so let's steelman ourselves in this person who has now set this goal. What and how could they begin building in the off season towards that like next race block, whatever it might be?
Yeah, I think first is just whether it's a race, a specific date. I think it is important to kind of give yourself a date, even if it's like that 220, 225 bench that Tyler wants to get. I think it is important to give yourself a date and a time frame you want to do it for. I mean, yeah, you look like, yeah, you're ready. And then give yourself a date and then see how much time you have to see how you can first gradually ramp up into structured training so that you don't go and get yourself injured by ramping up training too quick and kind of recycle some of the injuries or potential problems you had in past blocks, and then get into that structured training. I think this is a good time to kind of look at your past blocks and kind of start to think, what went wrong, what went really well, what do I want to change, any new things I want to tweak. This is kind of like the time to start thinking about that, of like how you can push it to the next level for your new.
Yeah, I love that, and I think like the key on like that retrospective look at your last training block is really key. That's one of the rewards of consistency and doing this year over year, is you can build not only on your fitness but also on your experience. And if you don't take the time to let's for example say like look at which workouts you missed in the last year to try to identify why that happened, and you might learn something. Like I've seen through mine, the thing that I learned about where I was missing was I ended up missing some of those longer marathon pace workouts. Well, that's not what you want while you're training for a marathon. So in those weeks where I was at risk of not doing those marathon pace workouts, I should have maybe tactically skipped a different GA run. And I know you've told me this, Andrew, but there's nothing like learning from experience in making those mistakes yourself. So I think that is a brilliant piece of advice. Anything from you, Mr. Tyler, Coke Sipper? Are you sponsored?
Oh, frig, I'm starting to get addicted.
Coke?
I'm starting to get addicted to Coke, just like Juicy.
That's a great shout out. What do you have for us in building towards that next season?
Well, I think I gotta maybe, I don't know if it's a shout out or a call out to Kyle, my friend, my friend and fellow BIM member. But he kind of gave me a good perspective today. Is he was, just like all of us in off season mode and kind of just been going with the motions for the past few weeks. But just like us, he's kind of itching to get back in a plan. He's always been on training peaks and kind of always had this dedicated week by week schedule scheduled by someone else. He's paying for this accountability. This accountability is really how he structured his whole season last year. And going into his first Ironman, he really did a 12-month block. So I think now he was kind of, just like I said, just like us, in a limbo, kind of not sure what to do. And he's getting ready for the May marathon. And he goes, I'm starting to train next week. And I was like, well, I think just like what we structured our plans was like, hey, we're going to start, you're going to pick a date, like you were saying, Andrew, and start working back from there. Do you want a 16-week training plan? Do you want an 18? Do you want a 32-week? And I think he was still already, that's an Ironman training block right there, 32-week training plan.
But that's too long. Talk about burnout.
Well, that's kind of what I told him. I said, well, you can't start training now. And he goes, well, he told me a certain plan he was following. And I was like, well, what is that going to bring you to? And then he set a random date. But I think step one is finding your race date and working backwards from there and kind of finding that, day one of the training plan. Before then, you could kind of get some maintenance work, a lead up to that mileage that you want to do on week one. But I think step one is really figuring out what that main goal is kind of what you guys were saying, is get that A race on the map and kind of map out your season from there. Because, yeah, these 32 and 48 week training plans might be a little bit overreached if you're trying to go ham that whole time.
True. And you can do, like you said, some base building before that plan for whether it's a race, some event, some day in the future where you want to end a training block on. But you can build some base, and you can do that intelligently. I would say, like, start low and slow. Start with maybe working on that consistency. So if you know in the training plan you're going to be doing like 6 days a week, maybe start at like 4 and gradually build that up and then slowly ramp that mileage up. And I think being somewhere between like 50% of that first week in the first week of your base building is probably where you want to be. You don't want to be too much more than that. And then you gradually ramp up that mileage. You can sprinkle in some fun efforts. Andrew, you mentioned like chasing KOM segments, doing some FKTs. That's perfect. Chasing some new power goals on the trainer, also a good goal. But I think, yeah, consistency is that first muscle you got to kind of rework and then build that mileage up into that first week is great.
Well, I mean, talking about muscles, I just chat GBT'd my way through a how to bench 225 and they're giving me 32 weeks. So, I mean, I'm going to start today, get ready for the summer.
You're going to be beach ready, baby.
Frig, how to bench 225. I got it right here. 3 phases. Base building phase, progressive overload phase, and friggin' peak towards my one rep max.
I mean, you're joking about this. Well, I mean, actually, no, you're not. You're very serious about this goal. But I think using ChatGPT or whatever is a great way of like feeding, this is what I did this past season. This is the plan I used. I like this plan. Here are kind of my goals and kind of what I want to reach. And I think trying to like modify your current plan to try to hit those goals is kind of an interesting experiment and something that I've kind of been playing with, of like where are little spots that I can tweak, knowing that like looking back for me personally, my 10K and my half marathon kind of are outperforming my marathon right now. So like how do I close that gap? And so I do think that's like an interesting thing to do. And I mean, sometimes I'll just hallucinate and might make you bonk mid-race, but who knows? Worth trying something new.
I mean, that's what chat's for. Chat can't run marathons, so I guess you have to.
Chat isn't a hobby jogger. That's where we come in, right? I think that's really good. Is there anything more before we like switch over to chat time that you guys feel like is on topic for this?
Well, I mean, just to bounce off of Andrew's last thought and big podcast, man, we did do an episode on AI helping us with our training plans and nutrition goals. And like I was kind of just joking, I just did a little blurb, like a 3-liner. And, they gave me a 3-phase program and nutrition hacks and also overall like overviews. So it does help. And I think it is a good technique to use just to get ideas even flowing. I know I asked it the other day to just spit out a split for me. Hey, I want to do upper body. I don't really want to think in the gym today. Just send me an upper body and just did a quick little workout. So shout out to that AI episode.
Yeah, big AI episode that dropped, and it's the stuff we discussed there is exactly what I plugged in for the next 2 months. Basically going off what Andrew said, like this is the goal till the end of the year. This is what I'm at right now. Get me to that finish line of the 10,000 kilometers. And it was pretty darn good. And the nice thing is you just chat with it to make any changes. So yeah, super useful.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Before we go to chat time, I sent this to a couple folks that are in a group chat, but this episode is coming out November 4th at around noon. And at 4 p.m., the prices for Toronto waterfront go up. So if you are looking for a race and you might want to be doing a marathon in 2026, might be a good time to sign up. You have 4 hours if you're listening to this right on launch, which I know you all are. So sign up. Very likely I'll be signing up. And yeah, if you do, tag us. join Boys in Motion. So just, let us know.
What the frig?
I told you, with the Ironman being canceled, my plan was double Toronto. So we're back. We're back on scheduled programming.
I love it. Okay, so Toronto Waterfront tomorrow. So yeah, like you say, that'll be upon release, basically. People. So historically, are there other price raises after this one?
Yes, there are. Right now, it's with fees and stuff. I think it's about 160, 170. It will go up to about 220. There's a couple
Okay.
more increases
Okay.
for
So
sure.
so even if people like miss the boat on this one, it's not the end of the world. Still sign up. You're still going to get a deal
Yes.
from what it will be like 5 months out from race day.
Yes.
Okay.
But with Waterfront, I wouldn't wait too long because it does tend to sell out pretty quick.
Right.
Especially if you don't want to do the full and you want to do the half. That one I would jump on sooner rather than later.
Good to know. Good to know. Question for you guys. It was something that Tyler surfaced for us, which is related to having lazy days being in the off season. And it has to do with training snacks. We've talked about how you can use training snacks, which are just basically like micro activities that that can help build some strength, some whatever. What are your go-to training snacks in the off season, or something that you'd like to do this year?
Frig, I thought you were actually talking about snacks. I was starting to get hungry, grabbing my gummy worms from the closet that I haven't been using for a while.
You like the bag chip reach? I hear that's really good for the delts.
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly what I'm doing. The friggin' chip reach and the cookies on the top shelf.
But seriously, Tyler, do you have an exercise snack?
Yeah, so actually right now, you do not the folks do not see this on Strava. This is work being done in the background, ghost mode. Nobody knows about this.
Batman in his cave right now.
Exactly. I'm just working hard on those hip flexors. I have been plagued by a hip flexor injury, and I realized that it's just like very weak hip flexors and hip muscles. So I've just been, and it's kind of easy to train or get that 10 minutes of exercise snacks in, as you say, but because it's very easy. It's not really, you could do dynamic or static holds, but I tend to like to move a little bit more. So getting those dynamic movements with that hip opening and closing that hip, kind of getting those leg muscles a bit stronger within the hip area is what I've really been focusing on lately. And I'm just like recovering from that injury and at the same time strengthening both hips to try to get better for that to continue running throughout this off season. And
Yeah, I think kind of same for me. It's in the off season, I'm trying to target those weaknesses, and mine's not the hip, mine's the calf. So I'm just going through kind of my tried and true routine, especially right now, trying to get back into the activity that I want to be doing. Just kind of doing that. I am have a physio appointment where I'm going to kind of go and try to slightly revamp my kind of strength routine. I have access to a gym at work, so I have access to a little bit more equipment. So I kind of want to revamp it for that, as opposed to just what I had at home, which is just kind of dumbbells. So that's kind of something that I'm going to be doing in the next kind of couple of weeks.
That's going to be a huge unlock, like to have actual strength equipment. Because, yeah, for us home gymmers, that's definitely a lacking thing, is to have like the equipment and the heavy weights. I'm very envious of that. Is there anything that you hope is not on there, like Tyler's bench or something?
Yeah, I'm hoping upper body work is at a minimum, because the upper body is useless. So I'm hoping it's mostly lower body activities.
I like that. Well, it's hilarious. I was at my chiro and we were talking about like, oh, strength training and that sort of thing. And she's like, oh, what do you do for like arms and shoulders? I was like, nothing. It's the same thing. I want to lose the upper body is my goal. And she just like, you're the first man I've ever heard say that. It did not compute. It was funny.
frig, just Skeletor on the top and just absolute gorilla on the bottom.
Exactly. Yeah, on my end, like I've been doing that sort of physio routine, but I would say the thing that I'm hoping to lean into a little bit more is some of that like deep flexibility stuff. Not so much for like actually being like getting crazy flexible, but just for some very low intensity mobility and movement. It's a different kind of pain focus and just a very different activation of your body that I wasn't doing too much of during the block, because I wanted to kind of keep my body running and just maintain where I was. But if I can do a little bit more flexibility, it's just an enjoyable activity for me. So yeah, I would say that's my snacky thing, is just putting on some YouTube videos of some yogis that I like and just following the leader.
I like that. I have been dabbling in that as well.
Very nice. Well, I think we've come to a pass here in this episode. So that's a wrap on our off-season training. Really a guide to how to stay fit and motivated year round. Remember that rest isn't the opposite of progress. It's a part of it.
Yeah, and if you like this episode, share it with one of your training buddies or that one friend who just refuses to take a rest day and just wants to train all year round. Shout out Kyle, who with his 32-week blocks. So yeah, pass it along, pass on that love.
Frig, I got a lot of people to add to that list. But yeah, make sure to follow us on Instagram, the Tink Tonk, and Strava for our off-season challenges and upcoming events for the new year. I'm very excited to announce some of those events coming up.
Me too. As always, the quick reminder, we're not medical professionals or certified coaches. We aren't the experts, but we like to chat like them. So do consult others before changing your routine or doing anything too dramatic this off season.
And remember to stay consistent, stay curious, try new things, and as always, keep them boys in motion.